Greetings, travelers.
We are in what is it? November. What is it? No, it's October. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, you're right. You're jumping ahead. Oh my gosh. We still have plenty of spooky season left. So I'm,
Clem, can you come up and beat the crap out of Mark from behind? That would be
uh,
nice.
he's resting. He's worn out, man. He's been haunting at several haunted houses that we visited. Clem has just had a grand old time meeting old friends and props. So
Oh my gosh, I love that. So, how is your reading of the Night in the Lonesome?
yeah, I've got a big group now online. We've been chatting it nightly, having a lot of fun. Some names that have been on here, some and some that haven't but want to be on now because they're all hanging out with these other guys. So uh, it's been a lot of fun, and more and more people are joining us, which is great. If you can't find it, there is a new print of Night in Lonesome October. It doesn't have all those wonderful illustrations of the older ones, but it's still really well done, and the text is the real king. So don't tell that
Yes.
to Kim.
And I'll tell you, that's Mark's kryptonite copies of that particular book. It's quite fun. So, yes, no, we're in spooky season. I'm enjoying it. I actually am going to carve my first pumpkin with my granddaughter. So, super excited. Not my first pumpkin I've ever carved, but for her. So,
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that tonight because tonight we are discussing some of the origins of Halloween tradition and superstition and all that. But we've got a special guest for that. So,
oh, we have a special. I was wondering what we were talking about today. Just kidding. Who is our special guest today, Mark?
well, if Bo can push the magic buttons and bring them on, we have the amazing author Jackie Sonnenberg. Oh my God!
Hi, everyone. Happy
Ah,
October. Right? It's
there-
October,
it
right?
is
Okay.
October still. I know.
Just making sure you knew that.
We ride in the Wayback Machine back and forth so much that Erica loses track of time.
But,
And
October starts in August for us anyway, so I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, I guess it
I
could
We've
was
be.
been going spooky season for at least 6 months, so it's can
Oh,
get
yeah.
very confusing. Plus, I may be hitting the boba milk tea a little hard today, so
well, yeah.
Get it.
No, for me, spooky season starts on January 3rd and then it ends on January 2nd. So yeah, that's pretty much my rules.
It's definitely year round for
Yeah.
many of us, especially when we're just into horror genre and in general. It shouldn't just be to October. So for many of us, it's like now it's really starting.
tell this amazing crowd before we go too far down a Halloween thing,
Yeah.
because we're gonna get there anyway, what you write. Talk about it for a moment.
So I am a young adult author, and I used to specialize just in fantasy. But as I started to go into the dark side a little bit more, I started to appreciate it a lot, and I started to incorporate that into all my works. So I used to say I was like a hardcore horror, but the more I wrote and the more ideas that I got, the more I realized that I very much like horror blended in with under other genres. I very much like having that dark elements to fantasy and other areas of books. So I like to call myself like dark fiction. I like to call myself like horror fantasy.
That's very true, and it's very apt
Yes.
description. So, I believe the first time, Jackie, you and just hit my knee on the desk, and Bo might have to try to get that out of the recording, but
And it
probably
won't work.
not because I was talking.
Ouch.
Whatever. We're just talking about Mark's phone that makes noise all the time, sounding like Vincent Price. So, what's a little knee bump into a table? I think I met you the first time from one of your books cosplaying as the lamb.
Yes.
You don't cosplay as the lamb. Talk
Well,
about that
yes.
character for a moment.
Well, yes. Okay. So what Erica's referring to here, for those of you that don't know, is she was referring to my other works, my other books. I have a collection of nursery rhymes retold as horror stories. Now, with my brand and my marketing, I'm known for making costumes of all of my book characters and creations. And so Erica actually met me while I was portraying my characters from my novel, The Lamb Was Sure to Go, which is my take of Mary Had a Little Lamb if it were a horror story. So it was myself dressed as my version of Mary, who is the Antichrist, evil child in this context, and a prop of the evil lamb that serves as her beast. So
Yes, and this beast is not a little thing.
no,
It's almost the same size as you.
It is. It is actually a taxidermy foam form of a desert bighorn sheep. So I took that and I covered it in actual lamb wool and craft fur here and there and just created my lamb, created my beast.
Yes, and
Right.
it's terrifying to see in person because it's very
Iconic,
bloody and yeah.
iconic. If you ever, you'd know it if you saw it at a con. Very
Gonna say, follow Jackie and, her links are in our show notes, of course, but go see her in person because she will never disappoint, ever. Praise.
our books never do. I was just mentioning that we're in the middle of our Night in the Lonesome October reads and some other Halloween reads, and Jackie's books always in circulation amongst that list. That's how level I put Jackie. But her newest has just floored me, and it is based on Halloween folklore traditions and
Mhm.
all that. So
Yeah, it sure is.
yeah, and man, is it incredible. So go ahead and give them the elevator pitch on that, and then we'll get into things. So
Okay, so Montauk Village is, in a nutshell, it's about a town that sits on the barrier between worlds. So it's right on that cusp. It's right on that boundary, so to speak. And so instead of things only coming out one time a year when the veil is the thinnest, things come out every night. So the entire town goes into lockdown and goes into curfew to protect themselves. And they get visits from everything that pass through. Just that's just what happens at night. They get monsters, they get demons, they get spirits and ghosts and cryptids and all sorts of things that are just passing through. They're entering into that world, and the townspeople have to adapt to it. They adapt for their survival and adapt to I guess maintain it and sort of take care of themselves, and it's not like it's nothing new for them either. So these are going back to their own traditions and everything, so to speak. So that's where that takes place, really. It takes place in this town and in this area where this is possible, so that it's not just things that happen on Halloween, so to speak. It's not just that one time of the year. It's year round.
Which is very, very cool, and, it's a part of a series, correct?
Yes.
The Mock Cub series,
Yes.
and, so Mark, I know. Oh,
hey,
ooh, we get to
Here
see
we
it.
go. Yep, here
special
we go.
copy. So
This
that's
is
how we do
number
it.
1. Yep, so this actually just came out recently, as you both know. This came out in September, and so, of course, what better time of the year for a Halloween book to come out than right when Halloween is coming out? So I've had my fun promoting this since then.
So, what kind of reactions besides Mark's, fanboying, we're in another Mark fanboy episode of Eerie Travels, um, uh and I'm gonna throw this in. So I was just at a phone store and I'm sitting there and I was like, I have to leave. I've got to go record a podcast. And the phone store guy, he goes, "Oh, you do a podcast?" And I throw him one of our cards, for Erie Travels, and he goes, "I want you to know how much I respect this." And I was like, "Wait till you listen to the show, you'll change that tune." Um, anyway, sorry, side note, but let's talk about fan reactions to this book. So what has that been like now that it's been in the wild for about a month?
God, I'm loving this. I'm loving this because I have people telling me that this is exactly what they would expect from me. They've read all of my past works and they're reading this and they're going, "Yeah, this is a Jackie book. This is exactly what I wanted it to be." And that really touches you when you create something that has an impact on people so much so that they can't wait to read the rest of your works. And when they can't read the rest of your works, that they know they're gonna deliver, and they know that they're gonna have that same impact on them. So, I've had people tell me that they're reading this and they're reading a little bit of me in it, but at the same time, it they don't know what to expect. So, I guess there's a difference in between knowing what to expect and being too predictable, but at the same time recognizing an author's work within the work and knowing that that's their brand and what they do. So, I've had people pick this up and tell me, this is exactly what I was looking for to read for a while, and I'm really glad that you were the person to do it because I feel like you're the best person to handle this kind of thing, and it just it's so flattering. It touches me, makes my little black heart turn a couple shades lighter. I know.
So the way I read it was very much kind of like a haunted, forgotten realms type story for the Dungeons and Dragons crowd. It's a timeless, kind of thing. But your character that you cosplay as the lead character in this is just one of those characters that just kind of stands out in a crowd. And when I read it, I could see every kid reading this identifying with this character so much. So, a little bit about the main character. Don't worry, gang. We're going to get to Halloween traditions and how they affect this very quickly. But just we got a fanboy over this, and believe me, once you read it, you're going to be like, "We're going back to that Eerie Travels interview and reading all about and here listening all about this." Give us a little about the character.
So Poe has a bit of a mysterious past. So she's someone that is going through like a finding herself. That's her theme in this book. That's her character development. And I think people could relate to that no matter how old you are or where you are in life. I think a lot of people could relate to finding themselves or discovering new things about themselves, so to speak. But there's definitely an appeal with someone that has a mysterious past, especially since Poe has her own parent connections. So when she comes to the town, she learns a little bit more about herself and how she's connected to it. But she's someone that just is she's very in tune to what's around her. She has very strong senses. And she's not very in tune with herself though. She doesn't know a whole lot about her past. But she's someone that's just very intuitive and she's very keen and she's very alert and she's just full of wonder. And so she's out exploring all the time and that kind of appeals to all of us in a way that we all want to explore and we all want to learn new things. There's a lot of me in Poe, I would think. There's a lot of me in Poe in the way that she is creative, 'cause I and going on with the Halloween traditions, which we will, Poe has a major role in many of them. One of them being is that she accidentally, invents Halloween costumes. She accidentally brings on the invention of Halloween costumes in this town and why they use them and everything. But since that's a huge part of me in making costumes, I incorporated that into Poe's character and making her a costume creator as well. Because she's someone that learned to take care of herself. She's someone that learned to raise herself and just be her own person in this world that she doesn't know a whole lot about. So she's someone that will, walk around the woods and, collect furs from random animals and make it into a cloak.
and and the level of this for those listening, I would say for me, it was definitely it's spookier than Goosebumps and right on par with classic Bradbury level scares. The Something Wicked This Way Comes and Halloween Tree level, and that's the level you'll get with this. One other character I loved, I have to bring up, is of course the Cryptid Hunter, the studied Cryptid Hunter, because heck yeah, that sounds very familiar to me. Someone who reads a lot and then runs around trying to take pictures of things.
I think I have a lot of fun with when you're doing world building and you're doing character development. I think something that authors have a lot of fun with is creating professions that fit into that world. Many cases, any supernatural, out of this world professions, I think people love reading about because they love incorporating like realism into those. So in reality, if supernatural things were happening, who do you call? You're going to call Sam and Dean Winchester. You're going to call the professionals that are going to come in and help ascertain the problem and everything. And you're going to see how they do things, what they do right, and they're going to see what they do wrong in that aspect. So I very much love creating that character in order to fit in here because if you think about it, that's what would happen. You got to call in the experts. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. Bring them in.
Yeah. And the town is brilliant. And one of the things I love about it is nobody does anything stupid in this
That
except when bad things happen.
Well,
Yeah.
and to touch on that too, the main plot being that these monsters and cryptids and demons all come out at night. That's nothing new. That's not the plot of the story. It's not this is all of a sudden happening. It's this hasn't been happening since this town existed and the town knows it. So they adapt to it and they adapt to living there and protecting themselves and everything. It's not oh no, what are we going to do? It's how do we deal with this? But also the point is that down the line, this veil has opened bigger. So now the problem has gotten worse and everyone's trying to figure out what happened and why. So that's where the monster hunter comes in. And at one point it got to be too much work for him. Too much for him even. And so he had to put out an ad for an assistant. And the one that answers his ad is the main character. And he did not see her coming. And she doesn't even know what she's getting into. She just kind of shows up and is like, I'm here. What are we doing? What's going on? And he's like, okay, I have a kid now, I guess.
Yeah, it's great. It's great fun. All right, gang. Enough about that. Enough. I mean, we'll get more into it at the end. I'm sure we got to do another shameless plugs and stuff. But Mock Cop Village, pick it up. Pause this podcast after you read it. Come back and join us because you'll thank me later. All right, let's talk Halloween because that's what this is, right? This was your book is
Yes.
about the founding of Halloween traditions and stuff. So we've got to go back. Now, where do you feel? I mean, you did a lot of research for this, digging into Halloween traditions and folklore. Where did you start? Your research on this.
I think that's just kind of I think this just kind of comes from just a lifetime of the love of Halloween and things that you pick up here and there and different books and TV shows and movies and everything and just common knowledge, basic knowledge that you have. But I think reality is that I wanted a Halloween series, but I couldn't really find one that quite, scratched that itch a little bit. And it was always in the back of my head that I wanted to write my own series based on Halloween. And I thought of Macabre in one sitting. In
Oh wow!
all the whole series, I figured it out in all one sitting, and so what I did was I went back and I had to pick the key elements from Halloween traditions that we all know and love. So, of course, the dressing in costumes, the veil between worlds that thins, and jack-o'-lanterns, which we'll get to in a minute, and trick-or-treating. So in my book, I sort of pay homage to those traditions, but at the same time, I reinvent them as my own origin stories that will fit the story specifically. So, for example, the main characters in this story are considered the world's first trick or treaters.
It's been so much fun because we go back normally in the Wayback Machine, which we loaded with snacks for this because as I put in Halloween treats for us because that's important. Just saying, got to have those Bucky
Well, I
snacks.
gotta ask, what are your guys' favorite Halloween treats? Like, Jackie, what's your favorite Halloween treat?
Yes, all of them.
Okay,
I
I'm gonna
All
say
of them. I gotta have the pumpkin spice latte. I gotta have the hot apple cider, cold apple cider, the caramel apples, all the candy. I mean, and controversy candy corn. Some people you
I
either
was
love it or
gonna
you
say
hate
I'm
it.
about to piss
You
off
either
the
love it
audience because
or you
I
hate it.
love candy corn
Too.
and candy pumpkins.
Yeah.
my thing about candy corn is you eat those first handfuls and you're like, wow, this isn't as bad as I remember. Everybody says, and then you start deciding, all right, am I eating the front first or I'm eating the back first? You try because you convince yourself they're different flavors. And then after a while, you're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good on candy corn. And then that's when you go for the Snickers and the other things. But
First of
but no,
all, all of that is
like
not
marshmallow
accurate
peanuts. I get the
because
orange marshmallow peanuts. I know everybody else hates those.
I can eat candy corn and candy pumpkins till the cows come home. What prohibits me is the stop of the sale of said items. S the whole wintertime holidays show up.
Yeah.
Really,
Discuss that yet. Too soon.
Yeah. Just
Silence.
so we don't summon it. Don't summon it yet. Don't manifest it.
Quiet.
But
I'm
I'm
not
going to
hearing. We'll
Mark,
hear you.
what's your favorite one then?
mine,
Yeah.
I really like caramel apples. I
Yeah,
think are the definitive. No, no nuts on mine, please.
I
Just the
agree. Oh my
caramel,
god,
and
Mark. I agree. I hate nuts on the apples. It ruins
I
it.
don't know why. What's the point? Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. You don't need that. Yeah,
You
it's I
don't.
know it's
Exactly.
saltiness. Maybe salted caramel apple. Then it's fine too. That's good too. So, but I don't know. You don't need it. You don't need it.
No,
But
it's
that's
Okay.
fine.
unnecessary.
So I
So we
had
go.
one of those are the Kit Kats and the Reese's pumpkins, which I know a lot of people love the Reese's
Yeah.
pumpkins and ghosts because they're big, thicker. And now they have these huge cups that have, don't get me started. I can go down a whole, like, we could have a Reese's show.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Huge fan.
We'll do that next week. Next week is all Reese's
Yeah,
and
is all the time. But I will
yeah.
say, I had a caramel apple that had pretzels on it, and they were fresh, and it was probably one of the most brilliant things I've ever had because it had that salty crunchiness, but it wasn't offensive like nuts.
No. Yep. No, we've discovered chocolate covered pretzels and white chocolate covered pretzels. All that. That's become a Erie Travels team staple now on trips. So,
Yes,
all right,
absolutely.
all right, real quick. Halloween, I got to do my history. Of course, it goes back to Samhain,
Mhm.
the Celtic
Yes.
festival, the start of winter, the end of harvest, and of course, they believe that's the veil was thin, right? The spirits were close, and that's why they did bonfires,
Yes.
and they would wear disguises if they had to go out because they didn't want the ghosts or monsters to mess with them, and it was also all to honor their ancestors, right?
Mhm.
And of course, the Christian tradition of All Saints Day and All Souls Day is right at that same time. So like, all right, let's blend these together. And Samhain kind of where we get the leaving food out for Santa is kind of where we leave food out for the spirits that are wandering. And that was kind of trick or treating. They put the food outside, but the poor children would go out for All Souls Day and they actually called it souling. I can't remember the German name for it, but that was where they would go and take the food for the ghosts, and they were allowed to because they were poor and all that. The Scottish is like we sing, ye sing. It's a GUI word. I can't remember. I've never actually heard it said, so I just go by the spelling. And that was children dressed in costumes, and they would actually perform songs to get fruit and nuts or coins if they were really good. They got some coins from the
Oh, yeah,
royalty.
you know what that reminds me of? There's something about, like, a type of Halloween caroling too, where they would go to door and they would sing.
Yeah.
I think that's the Welsh god, Mari. It's like the yes, it was the horse spirit.
Yeah,
Yes.
that for more holidays, but it's similar. Yeah, very
It's
similar. Same,
similar, I think that they're connected too.
definitely. It's midwinter, so end of fall, early winter, midwinter festival.
Mhm.
Sure.
Establish Halloween caroling wherein you sing songs about dismemberment, death, that sort of thing, spirits rising from the grave, because unlike the other holiday traditions of caroling are all like these great things about all this wonderful stuff that's gonna happen, I would like the exact opposite to occur and us get dressed up in terrifying costumes and go caroling. Can we please start this tradition
I'm
immediately?
in. I'm in, 100%, let's do
I'm
it.
in. I do a pretty mean monster mash, so we'd be pretty good. So I can do Boris pretty well.
I'll believe
But
it when I see it.
yeah, all right. And
Yeah.
then modern trick or treating, of course, 1930s, 1950s. And it was cemented by 1952 Disney's Trick or Treat, which was,
Classic.
and then of course Peanuts.
Oh,
Great
yes,
pumpkin.
the Great
This-
Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
That made it. Everybody had to do it, right? That made it so it wasn't just kind of the oddball thing, and it really comes from a fun tradition that was before. It was called Witch Night, which or Mischief Night or Devil's Night,
Yeah,
which is
which
more
was
in
the night
Europe.
before.
Yeah, October 30th primarily. And it was so many pranks and bad things that the cops were like, what do we do about this? They were so thankful for trick or treaters, but that's also where we get the origin for the haunted house attraction because they're like, hey, if we can get all the kids to go to this one spot, we can keep an eye on them. And that's where the JC's haunted houses and all those haunted houses came from was hey, let's just give them some place to work out all their aggression, man.
Well, also with trick or treating too, the name trick or treat meant that you'd go to someone's house, you'd say trick or treat, meaning give me candy or I will do a trick on you, I will be mischievous. So it's like, "Give me
Yeah,
candy, otherwise I will, egg your house," or whatever.
yeah,
In a
goes
way,
back
it was like payment. "Give me candy or else."
yep, goes back to that witch night or wicked night or sometimes called witch night. In some area more Midwest, it was called witch night, but or devil night, Satan night, stuff like that. Of course, everybody had a name for it, and of course, a lot of people still associate it with bad things instead of just everybody having a good time and thanking our ancestors and thanking the dead. And hey, don't mess with us. And come on, give the kids some candy.
So again, much like the caroling, I would like to bring back the trick part of this situation. If you are given crappy candy or not handled well, I guess if you're given the candy, then you have to not trick. But if not, trick or treaters out there, I would like you to start carrying eggs and toilet paper to resolve these problems with this situation because
That
I think we need to go full on feral Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Toothbrushes on Halloween. Come on.
or like pennies.
Yeah. They they deserve whatever comes to them.
I agree. Now, don't get me wrong. I think sometimes some of the treats that can be given, if they're good fruit and stuff like that, I mean, I get why people can be upset, but I love me a good crisp apple, not gonna lie. Like I could take it's good fuzzy peach, like a Yamer peach. I'm all about that. So
Jamer Farms, baby. Jamer Farms. No, we love that place. You gotta come up here, Jackie. We gotta take you to that place. Giant pumpkin field, corn maze, and every apple imaginable. They do bobbing for apples, they do caramel apples, fresh caramel, fresh apples. It's insane. Not a spooky place at all, but too much fun. Too much fun.
okay. What happened to bobbing for apples? When is the last time you guys got to bob for apples? Because it's
Oh,
been
like
a
elementary
while.
school
Yeah.
parties
Yeah.
It's more
where they had
annoying.
like the big barrel and then they put a bunch of apples in and then they made us all stick our faces in there and just
Yeah.
laughed at us failing miserably and we're all like, ah, isn't that funny? We're like, haha, this
Tradition.
isn't possible.
That was kind of like throwing the bouquet at a wedding. That was the tradition of buying for apples is whoever got the apple first and second person get it, they were the ones who were going to be married. So that's where it comes from. That was a New England tradition. That's why it's in uh, uh, Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So, because that's why it's such a big deal that he's trying to get it because the lady's trying to get it. So, yeah, of course, old Ichabod trying to get in with the lady. So, because he had money. Uh,
Well, I have to say this. I didn't know that was a part of the tradition, but there are many people who would bob for apples before me that I would be busy right immediately following it, so unable to partake in the bobbing ceremony as to not
well,
be stuck with them for a lifetime.
okay, so if you did it alone, there was another little superstition. So if you're bobbing for apples alone, you ain't got nobody else to see who you're going to get married to. You, when you bob the apple, you skin it and throw it over your shoulder, and when it lands, it will make an initial. The bruising will make an initial, and that is the initial of the person you were intended to marry.
Oh,
So
geez.
that's an Appalachian tradition. So
That
Like,
is a lot of
dang,
responsibility put on a skinned apple, not gonna lie.
true.
Yeah,
there.
like, way
I
too
have
much
never heard of that.
responsibility for an apple.
We
You
were
know,
just trying to look for the stem to cheat.
Yeah.
That's what we did in elementary school. We did that as kids. Everyone's like, "All right, well, try to find one with a stem and just bite the stem, and then yay, you win a prize."
yep.
There were no shedding of skin, making initials involved at all.
Uh, 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 yep.
Little did you know, Jackie Moo.
When you're 7, maybe.
Something to work out into your next book there for a Halloween tradition.
Oh, geez.
Oh, fine. Okay.
All right.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Halloween traditions, we have to take a momentary pause for our commercial supporters. I'm not even using the right words. I'm just making sounds.
You're
Anyway,
man.
we're gonna take a
We'll
quick
be
break and we will be right back.
after these messages.
We're back. I can see Bo behind the scenes staring at us like we're crazy people, taking forever. She shakes her head. There's a lot of judgment. I'm not saying I'm very proud of what we're like, but sometimes the looks on her face, because we can see her even though you guys can't, are priceless. Because she looks at us like, idiots, you're supposed to be back on now. Get going. It's fine.
All right. So I'm gonna throw out some Halloween, staples of things you should do on Halloween night. And I want to see if you guys have any specific traditions involving those. So first things first, what is the number one associated place with Halloween, you think? What does everybody talk about on Halloween that they must go to or something like that if you want a proper Halloween? Usually in a book or a movie. I'm saying that first. So
Usually a cemetery
cemetery.
They like a
is
Yeah.
like the
graveyard.
number one thing that comes to my mind.
Yep. Cemetery or graveyard. And Jack, you know the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard, right?
Yes, of course. A cemetery is a standalone. A graveyard is typically connected to a church.
Church. Right. Right. So There are a couple rules for
Saying
Halloween.
that because I didn't know that. So, wave that in my face yet again.
See, Erica, the more you know.
The more you know. Da-da-da-da. Yeah. Yep. So again, dying folks and eternal resting places, never take them lightly, right? So never go to a graveyard on Halloween night alone, right? That's rule number one. You shouldn't go in there alone anyway, and you're not supposed to go there after
I
dark
was going
anyway.
to say
Close it
Erica's rule number one is never go alone to begin with. Because when you're there, you're never truly alone anyway, and you might have companions coming on with you that you're unprepared for.
So here's the thing I didn't know, but I'm now never going to do it. If you point at a graveyard on Halloween night, the story goes, your fingers will rot off.
Hmm.
So that's actually an old Irish legend, apparently. So I had never heard that. So I will not be pointing at any graveyards on Halloween night. So
Ah.
somebody calls me and says, "Hey, where's the nearest graveyard, Mark, that's super haunted?" I'll just be like, Google. Um, okay. And the last little thing about graveyards, if you're in there on Halloween night and you hear someone call your name, what do we do in the Appalachians?
I don't care whether it's a graveyard or not. Do not turn around. Do not respond.
Right. Yeah. It's a dead calling to you. You don't want any part of that. So,
Mm-mm.
all right. So now the big point of this is again, it's the turning of winter is coming. So you have to have everything right. So even the smallest thing wrong can endanger your whole family for winter, right? So
Right, they had to stock up on
yeah,
supplies.
precautions have to be made sure that everybody's good, including your ancestors and the dead, because they're roaming around. So you now, what do you do to take care of the dead on Halloween night? What
I'm
what would you do
assuming it
for these?
involves very similar to leaving cookies and milk out for Santa. That's what I'm guessing. Is that you've served them a nice plate of food because that sounds about applicable.
Southern hospitality, right?
Just
You
honoring
don't,
their memory in general.
yep, no
What about
saying.
putting pictures up? That's a putting pictures up, though, that's a Dia de los Muertos tradition, is putting
Netherlands.
pictures up, like, on the mantle, on the fireplaces.
Yeah, which is southwestern U.S. and all, and Latin America and all that. So yes, that's very correct. And then, but what you do with in Appalachia is you wine and dine them, right? You're taught your manners. So you fix a big meal, set the plate at the table, we'll give them their own chair. You got to have dessert, very important, which is pumpkin pie.
Yep.
Or if an early winter, snow ice cream, of course, a nice cake, blackberry cobbler, whatever's your family thing. And everybody eats, but you eat only in candlelight. That's the key. Everybody has to eat by candlelight. And then every empty chair while you guys are eating needs to be filled except for the ghost chair, right? You fill every other chair in your house so that nobody can sit down in it. And then that way, at the end of the meal, you prop that chair against the table on its front two legs. Now it's unavailable, and then you light a candle at every window and every door. And then at the stroke of midnight, you tell the spirit, "You had your full. Make your way out. Winter's coming. You best be on your way."
Mm.
And then one of the candles should go out as the spirit leaves.
So I'm just going to throw this out for all of our travelers who are listening who wonder how to get something out of your house. Give that a try. That seems like it doesn't require a medium and could smell very nice depending on what candles you use.
So any
I like
any
it.
But what if they don't wanna leave? What if they wanna stick around for a while? What if like, "Hey, what's up? What's next?"
Sometimes people don't. Sometimes they're okay to stick around, and then sometimes maybe not a great idea. They may not be behaving well inside the home.
Yeah. And then Erica, you know what? Your thing first of the month. What do you always do?
I
What
always do cinnamon outside the door.
Yeah, blow cinnamon outside the door, except on Halloween. You don't do that in Appalachia. And that is because if it weren't for bad luck, we had no luck at all, right? That's us mountain folk. So you never sweep on Halloween at all in your house, anywhere, because you could sweep out the good fortune as well as the bad.
Hmm.
And then the last thing is never loan or give anything away on Halloween because who might you be giving it to? Right? You might be giving it to the Fae, you might be giving it to an ancestor, spirit, or whatever. Well, ghosts and witches are out and about. You don't want to give anything away to anybody you don't know who might be impersonating somebody or might be doing anything like that. So, important safety tip, gang, for Halloween night. So,
Wow.
all right. All right. Now we got to go back to our historical, right? We all talked about jack o' lanterns.
Mhm.
So,
We all know where that comes from too, yeah. I had a
all
lot
know,
of fun with that. I loved learning the origin of jack-o'-lanterns, actually. I thought it was just really, really cool. I mean, so jack-o'-lanterns comes from this character, it's called Stingy Jack, and he was a mischievous guy, so he was causing all sorts of problems, so much so that they didn't want him in heaven, and the devil didn't want him in hell, so he cursed him to be a wandering spirit, and he gave him a lump of coal, burning lump of coal that he put into a here's origin here for you is that jack-o'-lanterns originally were not pumpkins, they were actually turnips. Turnips because that was the crop that the Irish had. So it wasn't pumpkins until it came to America because turnip was more of a dominant crop in Ireland. And so he had the turnip that he carved a face into it and put the coal in it. And he was doomed to wander with this face, with this burning coal for all of eternity. And the funny part is that this turnip was more terrifying than a pumpkin. It actually looks like they look more like human faces.
oh
So
yeah,
when
there's
people carved faces in turnips, they actually looked like hollowed out human faces, and the burning coal at it just really illuminated all the facial features in there and made him look like like a human head. So when people would see him, they'd say, "There goes Stingy Jacko with his old lantern," and eventually that shortened to Jack-o'-lantern. So that's where that came from. And it wasn't later until the tradition came to America when they chose pumpkins. They had pumpkins as their crop.
and it was a lot easier to carve. And if anybody wants to risk their fingers by trying to carve a turnip, just do so at your own risk. Eerie Travels did not suggest that at all, even though they are creepy and cool.
Oh, man, I googled the jack-o'-lanterns and the turnips, and they look awesome. They
Oh
look
man,
terrifying. They look like hollowed out, rotted faces.
you know,
That
it's
that's terrifying.
terrifying. Yeah, they are terrifying. And then that's again, it's one of the Jack tales. Jack the Giant Killer, Jack this, Jack that. We did a episode on that for one of my minisodes. The Jack O the Lantern. Yeah, I loved his how he caught the devil. Is he was so stingy. The reason he's got the name Stingy Jack is that he refused to pay for his last drink. The devil came to collect his soul, and he's like, "I want one more
The
drink."
coins. The coins,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
it's like, can just turn? You're the devil. Turn yourself into a coin, and I'll use you to pay for this. And so the devil did, and then he put him in his pocket and put a silver coin on top of him, so the devil couldn't change back. And that's why the devil's like, "Let me out, let me out." He's like, "All right, don't bother me for a while." And he does it like 3 or 4 times before the devil just finally like, "I'm done with you." I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that whole thing, and then later, people kind of use that as a way to fend off spirits, so people were afraid of seeing Stingy Jack, and so they would carve their own jack-o'-lantern, so to speak, to fend him off as well as fend off others. So they'd make these absolute terrifying faces and put them in their windowsills and by their houses to try to scare them off so that they don't visit their homes.
Yep, exactly. That's why we all do it. It's so to keep Stingy Jack away. They're like, "Oh, he's already there." And the monsters don't like Stingy Jack. The devil doesn't like Stingy Jack. So the demons don't like Stingy Jack. It's why if you want to protect yourself, make a jack o' lantern. It's all good. So
Yeah,
and then for the great
here's a
pumpkin.
burning face of doom. Can't go
Yeah.
wrong.
And
Yeah.
so I have a question for you guys. A couple Halloween questions. What is your favorite Halloween costume that you ever got to wear when you were a kid?
Oh goodness.
Come on, all of them.
Yeah. I'd say it's tough because I even go back to those terrible 70s ones I had. I had a Chewbacca with the plastic mask and the like plastic costume that was like a garbage bag.
Yeah.
And it was terrible, but I love that thing.
I have to say, if you go back, because we're of that age, Mark, and you look at the pictures of us when we were kids in those costumes, that is terrifying. Like at the time, we thought it was cute, but now if you look at those pictures, we look like terrifying little demonic children because
Uh,
all the masks made your eyes shadowed and stuff. Like, ugh. Yeah.
I bought a Don Post mask. I spent so much money on this Don Post mask of a Darth Vader knockoff. It wasn't Darth Vader, it was a Darth Vader knockoff. And I spent weeks gluing that thing together because it was plastic and all that. It wasn't a proper latex mask. I made my own costume. I did all that. I didn't realize I was early cosplaying there. This had to be 79 or 80. And I went to event and Dr. Paul Bearer, the great horror host, was there. And he said, wow, what a great space guy. And I realized Dr. Paul Bearer had never seen Star Wars. I mean, it wasn't a great Darth Vader, but it was. If you looked at me, you were like, "Oh, that's a little Darth Vader." So I was just happy it
Okay.
was a step up from those stupid $20 Rite Aid costumes. So R.I.P. Rite Aid, who just died last week. So oh my gosh,
Okay, I'll say this. So in preschool, I went as the Tin Man, and it was my choice. Cause okay, how I know is I always knew I was gonna be a costumer and cosplayer and how that was gonna be important to me is because I've had that my whole life. So preschool, I remember specifically, I told my parents I wanted to be Tin Man. And I told them why, because I had the idea that every other little girl in my class was gonna be Dorothy. So I said I wanted to be different. And so my mom busted out the cardboard and the aluminum foil and she made me this awesome handmade Tin Man costume. The problem was with the aluminum foil is that it wasn't staying on that much. So she literally put it around like a little cone hat for me and around like a thing for my legs on the cardboard. And so all day I was actually falling apart. And so I remember when we took our class photo on Halloween, I was the one of the smaller kids, obviously, but the smaller kids would sit down and the bigger kids would stand up. And I couldn't sit down in my costume because all the foil came up. So I stood. And I remember being the only little teeny tiny thing that was standing up with all the aluminum foil coming off of me and everything. It was hysterical. And to this day, I would go back and go, "All right, ma, here's what you did wrong." But I can't blame them for that. But it was just funny because even back then, I'm like, "No, I know I wanna make costumes, but I let's not use foil."
now Erica, yours?
Let me think because I think it was a Cowardly
Mhm.
Lion costume, honestly, that was, like, super cute and adorable, but was not a plastic costume. I remember being excited because it absolutely was not a plastic costume, and to me, that was a huge difference. I had a Mickey Mouse one that was plastic, terrifying. Or I was a witch, and I remember loving the witch hat and having the nose prosthetic that had the wart on it and being super excited that it was like a scary witch and not like a cute witch. Like, I didn't wanna be a cute witch, I wanted to be a terrifying witch, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Agreed with that. All
What
right,
about
so
your recent Halloween costumes?
hmm?
What about anybody's recent Halloween
I was
costumes?
gonna say, I cosplay like you do, Jackie, so many, many costumes and stuff like that. But I was gonna ask, like, what is a costume that you want to do that you haven't done?
Plenty, because there's plenty that I could get away with. I've always wanted to do, like, a dark Pinocchio.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'd love to do Eric Powell's The Goon.
Later. What?
I'd love to do Eric Powell's The Goon, which one of my favorite comics, and he doesn't get nearly as much love as Hellboy, but he's just as fun. So just love that series. I think I could pull it off now. I've got the build now for it. So,
I have to say, one costume I've always wanted to do but haven't been able to do yet is, uh The Darkness from the movie Legend. I've always wanted to do a take on the darkness that Tim Curry played in the movie Legend,
Oh,
yeah,
because I'm 6 feet tall, so with the horns and everything, I'd be in the right shoes, I'd be monstrous. I always thought that would be fun. That would be a very cool costume. I haven't done that one. I did get to recently, I mean, it's a couple years ago now, but we did a whole, Halloween, like, separate it was a drive-through trick or treat during COVID for,
mm.
people,
yeah.
with our company, and so we did these little Halloween montages, there were 3 of them, and me and some other people did, Hocus Pocus, so I got to be Winifred, which I loved, that was so much fun, "Book," and had the fake big front teeth and stuff, so yeah, that was a ton of fun, so yeah.
All right. Well, do you want your way to protect yourself from all the evils of Halloween night, which you're supposed to do right before you go to bed in Appalachia? Are you ready for this one? I hadn't heard this one, and I'm explained so much because I haven't been doing this. So, what you are supposed to do is to look into a mirror, the stroke of midnight, by candle, right? Ask your family for protection because you should be able to see your ancestors, like a protected loved one in the mirror. Cover the mirror, and then you take 3 tablespoons of cornmeal and 3 tablespoons of water, and you fry it on the head of a shovel. Then eat the fried mixture without drink, walk backwards to bed, and lay down. And that will protect you from all the evils of Halloween night.
Hmm. Alrighty.
That's, like, way too much work.
Years.
That's way too much effort, so I'm
Is
the
it?
You have to use oatmeal instead of cornmeal. What
yeah.
if I accidentally walk 4 steps backwards? What if I
I
walk
don't know
forwards?
about frying something on a shovel, like, how the hell am I gonna pull
Mm,
that off?
It's just, you gotta have a bonfire going. It's Halloween.
What about a really, really
So,
hot rock?
yeah, that
Yeah.
might work too. You could use the hot rock that's inside your turnip for your jack o' lantern.
There you go.
So, gotta have a hot coal to do it. So, there you
You had
go.
to have more than a hot coal to pull that off with any expediency. So, can we have
All
a
right.
less is there any, like, shortened version of that? Like, you could make
Uh,
some really good cornbread with jalapenos and cheddar, and then, is there, like,
the
an
whole point
option
of
B?
the whole point of October is
Like
to
a hot
bring out
toddy with
people.
some cider? Come on.
Yeah,
That might work. That might
some
work.
Someone else
Jack Daniels,
get
like,
into
throw
it?
a little whiskey in there, I'm good. If I have a
I'm
couple hot toddies, I might fall asleep anyway and not worry about my ancestors leaving through a mirror.
about just stumbling into bed after eating way too many caramel apples. I'd be good with that too. So,
Yeah, and candy corn.
Yeah.
yeah, and candy corn, that works too. Oh my
Okay,
gosh. All right.
I
Last
can't
thing.
eat an entire caramel apple. Can you guys actually finish in one sitting an entire caramel apple?
It
Are you,
depends on my mood
yeah, exactly. Depends on
and
how long
hunger level of the day. I don't know, I feel
yeah.
like if you cut it up more, you could eat it more, but, like, just actual, like, taking the huge thing and nom numbing is a little bit more difficult,
Yeah.
depending
Yeah.
on the size of the apple and depending, like, how much is on there. Like, if it just says, like, the caramel on it cool, or if it has, like, 50 layers of it, like, a lot of stores put so much around it to make them look bigger than what they actually are, and then you can't even eat it. You can't even cut it.
Yeah.
Well, that
Yes.
and they try to preserve it for longer because an apple
Yep.
does not do well. So normally you're just supposed to do a thing and hand it. Like the best caramel apples are when they actually dip it and then hand it to you.
Like
Yep.
here.
But there's not a lot of places that do that anymore. They need to bring that back.
Still have
Mhm.
the ones you can bake at home where they give you the little foil, basically the fruit roll up type caramel, and you wrap it around your apple, put it in the oven, and then stick the stick in it. Those kits are actually kind of fun. So, all right. Now, Jackie, you're also a haunter, right? You're a character and you work in haunted house. You've done it, I think, longer than I did. So, which is
16
crazy.
years. 16
Wow.
years haunting. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. We ran help you for 19. So you're getting there. You're getting there. but you're going to beat us because you're going to keep going. We had to stop. So, any haunted house tips? I mean, Erica's never going to go to a haunted house ever again. She's
That is
been,
not true. Apparently, one of our listeners has set up her staff that I'm allowed to punch him in the face. So I'm not on board with this. I think the violence is I love the
Outta
fact that
here.
she's like, "Bring Erica. It's okay with my people if she hits them." And I'm like,
Who? You'll have to tell me.
we'll give Jackie some warning too. So, but yeah, Jackie, any haunted house tips for Halloween night?
For people going? For people
Yeah,
that wanna go to a haunted house, like a haunted attraction?
whichever you want to do. It's all you right now.
Well, it's so funny about, haunts being open on Halloween because you figure it's either gonna be there's only 2 ways this could go. It's either gonna be A, slammed busy, insane, conga lines out the door, or it's gonna be slow. Because if you think about it, everything is going on Halloween, and there's too much going on, and there's everything going on at once, and you have to unfortunately choose, one or a couple things to do that night and everything. So it really varies. But I would say it's the same as any other night. Of course, it would be during Hell Week though, when a lot of places are busy and you see a lot of that high traffic. So it'll probably be busy either way.
Yeah, it usually anyone we did, even especially this year since it's fallen on a weekend night. Yeah, yeah, Friday night is a Halloween. Oh my goodness. So plus side is there's some haunts that are open like the week after some of our bigger ones that we love, like Netherworld's open the week after, and Dent Schoolhouse is doing the weekend after Halloween. They're doing a dark night where they're turning off all the lights and letting you
Oh,
go through that
blackout night, yeah.
with a glow stick to walk through. So just made you a big target. I love when haunts do that. We used to do that at Hellview and it was a lot of fun. So, all right. So as for scaring, what is your favorite scare?
My, like, favorite scare in general, like, what my, like,
Oh, and
technique and stuff like?
yeah,
Okay, so,
technique.
like, I'm what you would call, like, a multi-level scarer. So, of course, I'm very small. I'm only 4 feet 9 inches tall, so I use my size to my advantage. I'm someone that likes to do a lot of groundwork. I like to crawl around on the ground and hide in things on the ground, inside of things, and I also like to climb. I'm a climber. So I'll tell you right now, my legs are still very, very sore from last weekend when I was climbing up a tree and swinging down from it. I think that adds something that people don't expect when you do those, multiple layers as opposed to just like standing somewhere, popping out, and then going back in. I'm definitely someone that likes to use my environment around me.
Anytime you could get someone really tall or really
Hmm.
small, because you're just throwing off that eye line for most people works. So good. So good. My
Yeah.
favorite was the teleport, which you do with a mirror. You put the mirror at the end of the hall, and then the characters, you just see them at the end of the hall. Oh my gosh! And then so you're afraid to walk forward a little bit, but you're like, oh, they're down there, and then they appear right next to you because it's a mirror at the
Oh,
end of the hall.
misdirection.
And yeah, it's total
Misdirection.
misdirect,
Yeah.
100% knockdown break with that. So uh,
Yes.
anything misdirection works. So that's some people love the animatrons. We always use those as a distraction so that the character could get you from the other side. That's what the good set design and all that is for. So,
Well,
oh
and I
my
think
gosh,
the animatrons, a lot of them work because of their size. Like, that's where animatrons work is they're gigantic, and so depending on what you're using them for, not that people can't be in costume and on stilts and stuff, but if you want something really overpowering, but it's usually the smaller humans like Jackie that come out of nowhere that scare the living crap out of you, and, that's the jump scares for me are the ones, that are terrifying.
it's good stuff. All
Yes.
right, last thing for Halloween night is you always got to tell a good ghost story, right? That's the we watch a scary movie. It's just the tradition of telling a ghost story on Halloween night, and that goes back to those Appalachian traditions or Celtic traditions, was where we brought them all over from, or southwestern traditions where for Dios de la Muerte, you're entertaining those guests from beyond. You're keeping them excited about the things that are going on and in the world, and trying to inform them of things that have happened. It's kind of like what we did that whole thing on Tell It to the Bees. You're telling it to the ghosts. You're telling it to the ancestors, all the latest weddings, the latest divorces, but you always want to add that little haunted scare because that's what we picked up. Thank you, M.R. James and Washington Irving and all that for bringing the ghost story back around for Halloween. Um, oh my gosh. Is there any particular favorite ghost story that y'all have for Halloween night before we head out of here?
Oh,
Nothing
favorite
too
ghost
specific.
story.
Mm-mm.
Another,
Wow.
I always love or favorite horror movie for Halloween night.
Well, honestly, we have a little tradition in my family where okay, so there's gonna be more judgment on this, so here we go. It's not Twilight, but, um, we all like getting matching pajamas from, like, Old Navy or Walmart, all matching pajama bottoms for everybody, and for the little ones, the whole cute outfit, and then watching Hocus Pocus, the first one,
That's fine.
Okay.
because
That's
that's a
acceptable.
really fun one, but I have to say one of my favorite Halloween movies to watch, honestly, Sleepy Hollow. I love Sleepy Hollow. I think it's just amazing and so much fun and just like, it's one of those almost perfect movies to me to watch on Halloween.
It is. Mine is not traditional per se, but I will say this, I do have my very own Halloween viewing tradition, and that is Coraline. Every
Yeah,
Halloween season, I watch Coraline, and I feel like there's just so much there. There's so much horror in there. There's so many dark elements. You know, the Bell Dam, this witch that has this magic that could make things appear to be something that they're not. It's a classic, the witch luring Hansel and Gretel in with treats only to consume them and kill them. And there's no danger. What do you mean? This is beautiful. This is amazing. And then of course the classic hero's journey trope that we see in stories. So I feel like Coraline inspired me a lot with all of my writing and all of my work. And I watch it every year just to, pay honor to it. And I just love it in general. I feel like it's such an underrated gem.
that's classic. And
It
I'm just
almost
so
takes place in February.
Yeah, yeah, but it works. It works. I'm just happy that our wonderful movie I got to introduce Erica to, Something Wicked This Way Comes with
Mm,
Jonathan
Yeah.
Bryan. Disney
of
Plus,
course.
Disney Plus finally admitted it exists and put it on.
I do like the illustrated man. That's pretty cool.
As it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, all right, Jackie, we're running out of time. Where can people find you if they want to find you on the interwebs?
Anywhere books are sold, but if you go to Four Horsemen Publications, you'll get a discount on all of our books. They're available online as ebook and hardcover and paperback. And of course, my website, my name, JackieSonnenberg.com, and Sun and Books on social media, Instagram.
All right. And thank you so much for coming on, Jackie. This has been a real treat for me, and I and Erica too. So
That's okay,
Yeah.
Mark's that was another fanboy moment where he completely forgets that I'm also on the show with him. Where he just gets absorbed by our guests, and he's like, "Jackie, thank you so much for being here."
yeah,
And I'm like,
Thank you so
"I am
much for being
also
here.
here." So,
I
I love
forgot
you
that
guys.
was even there. I wasn't even looking at that. So, but all right, gang, I'm going to take us out of here. All right. So
yes, please
thank
do.
you. Thank you, Patreon members. Thank you, all those who listen and like and subscribe and share. You're all awesome. We have been doing this so many episodes now, and every one of them, we just have a blast. Thank you, Jackie, for joining us for this spooky pre Halloween show. Oh my gosh. And when you're out there, gang, and Halloween night, and you're listening to ghost stories or tales of murder, or if you're out looking for a haunted location like the Devil's Looking Glass in Irwin, Tennessee, that I just discovered, that the rocks howl at midnight. I can't wait to go try this. Or if you're just listening for a nice tale, or if you're drinking apple cider in the graveyard, or eating some cornmeal and going to bed backwards this Halloween. Just be mindful, be respectful of the dead, curl up in bed, and read that copy of Macabre Village. And we'll see you on the other side.